Hi everyone, it's Mr. Heward. It's Monday the 18th of January and this is this week's Lockdown Assembly. For the benefit of Year 7 who weren't with us in the summer during the first lockdown, we will do one of these lockdown assemblies every week. I will send them out remotely on a Monday morning. They will run alongside the main school assembly that will be delivered by your head of year or a member of the leadership team. And the idea of these lockdown assemblies is to continue the Hemel Hempstead Experience during lockdown. So we use them to share the week's house challenge, the results from the previous week. We might share different events, activities, competitions that are going on. We will share any messages from the school council or from the student leadership team. So anything that you would like to see in these assemblies, please let me know and I'll make sure that they are included. So check them out. There will be one every week. Two new parts of the Hemel Hempstead Experience that you might have seen. The first one is the RAG. The RAG is this new student newsletter. It's written by students for students. You would have seen the first edition that was sent out a week, 2 weeks ago. If you'd like to get involved in the RAG, you might have an article that you want to submit to be part of it, or you might even want to join the team. Then contact the student leadership team and Jess Swannell, the editor, and they will get you involved. The school council is continuing to run despite lockdown. We've had the last couple of school council meetings remotely via Google Meet, and they will continue during lockdown. The next school council meeting is in a couple of weeks. If there is anything that you would like to raise, then please raise that with your form reps or your year reps. They are meeting with heads of year shortly, and then the key items from those meetings will be they'll be brought to the school council meeting, and then the head students will act on them. We're also running an equality group at the moment. I'm working with a large team of year 12 and 13 students who are working together of how we can improve equality and how we deal with any acts of discrimination and things like that in school. So keep a lookout for some of the work that the equality group is putting together. Something that came up in the last school council meeting from students in year 8 and 9 particularly was that they wanted a bit more information about COVID. Not what we're doing as a school to make the school COVID safe, or anything about the national lockdown or the symptoms of COVID, not the stuff that's known, but they wanted to know what it is. To quote, "We're told about it every day, we see it on the news every day, it's all we hear people talk about, but we don't really know what it is." So I'm going to give a very short and very quick explanation of coronavirus. So what is it? The SARS coronavirus 2 is the proper name that was given to the 2019 novel coronavirus, or what we might call COVID-19. COVID-19 is actually the name that's given to the disease. Coronavirus is the virus, and then if you catch the virus, you can get COVID-19. COVID-19 is the disease caught from the virus. The full name, the SARS coronavirus 2. SARS stands for Severe Acute Respiratory Syndrome. Coronaviruses are very common, but the new strain, the SARS coronavirus 2 strain, or what we would term or might term coronavirus or COVID-19, is a new strain that previously, before 2019, hadn't been identified in people. Where does it come from? It's largely thought that the coronavirus, as we know it, originated in Wuhan, which is a province in China. Coronaviruses are very common. They're viruses that circulate among animals, often in birds and in bats, and it's largely thought that this particular virus originated from bats. You may have also heard the term pandemic. People talking about us being in a pandemic. We're in a global pandemic. An epidemic is an infectious disease that spreads an area or a region, whereas a pandemic is an infectious disease that spreads across a large region, such as a continent or country, or even worldwide. And pandemic comes from the Greek word pan, which means all, and demos, which means a crowd or a city. So a group of people, a large group of people. What do they look like? Well, you can see the picture there, and that's what they are named after. So the term coronavirus, corona is the Latin word for crown. They are called coronaviruses because each virus under the microscope has this sort of spiky appearance that almost looks like a crown. Inside the virus is the genetic material that we hear about, what's scientifically called its genome. Without getting too technical or too scientific, some viruses have a DNA similar to humans. So something like chickenpox has a DNA which is fairly stable and it stays the same. Coronavirus is made up of what's called RNA, which is slightly different. And the big difference between RNA and DNA is that RNA mutates, it changes. So we hear a lot about the coronavirus mutating, and there's different strains of it. That's very, very common in coronaviruses because of their genetic makeup and their genome. And it's the spikes that you can see on the picture. It's the spikes that are used to make the vaccine. They use parts of the protein to make the vaccine. I told you it would be short. Okay, so this last week's house challenge. Mr. Shaw did a good job putting this one together, as always, and I will do my bit to try and to share the results and to publicise these every week. So last week's challenge, our first challenge of the new lockdown, was the house step challenge, and the idea was to try and get as many steps as you could across the week. Perhaps not as easy as it was in the summer, not as easy to get out, weather's not as great, there's not as much light. 5 points for the entry, so well done to everyone who got involved. You have earned your house 5 points just for getting involved. And our top three from last week's challenge: in third place was Addy from Ashridge, well done Addy. In second was Abigail in Gaddesden, well done Abigail. And last week's winner was Ben in Penley, good job Ben. Every week there will be 5 points for getting involved in the house challenge, and then the top three will get an additional 10, 20 and 30 points. This week's challenge has kindly been put together for us by the dance department, and it's the dance photography challenge. The dance department would like you to get creative at home. Okay, so use your environment at home. It can be in the house, it can be in the garden, to try and capture an image of yourself. It doesn't have to be dance related, but it must encompass a sense of shape and movement. I'll show you some examples that they've put together for us in a second. Marks will be awarded for originality, creativity and presentation. So they may look something like that. Okay, so you get up, set your photo up, take it, send it in, and then remember, 5 points for entry, and then we'll get Mr. Parler and Mrs. Calhoun to pick the top three, and it will be 10, 20 and 30 points in addition for the top three. Okay. Be safe at all times when you're doing it. Okay, don't put yourself or others at risk. If you're outside, wear sensible footwear. If you're not sure what to do, then please send either Mr. Parler or Mrs. Calhoun an email, and they will help you out. When you've done your entry, please send it in to Mr. Shaw. His email address is on the screen, and we will pick a winner next week, and I will announce that in the assembly on Monday. Okay, good luck guys. Let's get as many people involved in that one as we can. It's nice and easy. It's a quick photo, send it across, and then there's a minimum of 5 points for your house. And I also wanted to remind people that Home Science Club continues to run for year 7 and 8. This month's challenges is to make a rainbow in a glass for year 7, and for year 8 the challenge is to make a lava lamp. The details have been set out on Show My Homework, so have a look Okay, and then for the science club, you can send in your results, your pictures to scienceclub@hemelschool.com, and you've got until the end of the month to do that. Okay. Thanks everybody. I will see you next week. I'll see some of you in school. I'll see some of you remotely in online lessons. Okay. Stay safe everybody. Please get involved in as many of these events and the house competitions as you can. Let's make this lockdown as bearable as possible. Let's continue the Hemel Hempstead experience, and we're looking forward to seeing you all soon. Have a great week, people. Bye-bye.